Reports of an active shooter at the airport, understandably terrifying for the travelers inside the terminal at the time, but also upsetting for everyone following the news from a safe distance. When it comes to active shooter situations, having had several here in Texas over the years, we know how devastating they can be.
But we're trying to look beyond politics. The people this fearful event touched, the travelers, their friends, their families, all of them being reminded tonight that our world can change in an instant. We do have team coverage to bring you tonight. News 4 San Antonio's Amanda Henderson speaking to some people who were inside the airport. One of them sharing that today, April 15th, will always be heavy on her heart.
Simone, that's because April 15th, she says, is the second time she feels like she cheated death, and it's also the first time she feels like she cheated death. The accounts, they're harrowing, and they're also very raw. People say when they were inside the airport, they were running, trying to piece together exactly what was happening outside.
It was very scary, especially when everybody's yelling shooter.
A look into the moments following a lockdown at San Antonio International Airport. In this video from Lee Anny Yarbor, you see people hiding in a restaurant. Right outside, a man in his 40s was shooting towards the lower level of Terminal B. Yarbor says initially it was chaos.
Two guys came running through. We watched them run through TSA. They just broke through TSA checkpoint and ran back into the terminal. And all of a sudden, TSA went running after them, and people were yelling shooter. So we thought the shooter was in the terminal because someone was yelling shooter.
Yarbor says it's the second time she has been in a life or death situation. 8 years ago, she ran the Boston Marathon when the bombings happened.
And I just crossed the finish line. And so I had no idea that today was the same day. I just remembered that being there. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening to me again.
Thankfully, a park police officer working overtime stopped the gunman before he hurt anyone.
We were very lucky today not to have a lot of people injured or killed during this event.
The officer confronted the shooter after a wrong-way driving call came in at 2:30 this afternoon.
When the vehicle hit Terminal B, he was confronted by an officer in the middle of the roadway. The vehicle stopped, and as soon as it stopped, the driver jumped out and started firing.
The suspect started shooting at the terminal and in the direction of the officer. The officer returned fire, hitting and killing the suspect.
What we had there was the start of an active shooter situation. This guy had a full box of ammunition. He had a .45 caliber handgun.
Passenger James Russell says he is also thankful tonight for a quick-thinking TSA staff.
They guided you through step by step.
Russell says his flight was delayed by a half hour, saying that delay may have saved his life.
Would have been there when that occurred.
Russell says he's also thankful his wife wasn't downstairs where the shooting occurred in order to pick him up at the time because his flight was delayed. As we learn more about the suspect and the officer, we will bring them to you on air and online. Simone, Robert.